Like one guy, he's in I think I don't know what master's program he's in, but he put his resume out. I think he had a background like in pharmacy and stuff like that, which he did some decent stuff in his job, just wasn't marketed very good. But he was looking for some entry level cybersecurity roles, and he had like the certs he had. But I was like, hey, if I'm looking at this, like, what's your value cybersecurity wise on this resume? All I see is some certs. Like, nothing on here shows me you know how to do something, right? And I think that's what people get caught up in. It's like, okay, cool, you got this and that, but where your projects at? Like, you got these tools, you got, Nesses and Burp Suite and all this other stuff on here. What on your resume, project or something you did shows me you know how to use this stuff, besides you just took some keywords and threw them on your resume. You going to jail now?
You going to jail now? Hey, shout out to my girl Pen Test Princess. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Hey,
and so you on the Xbox too, right?
Man, no, I don't play video games, bro.
Oh, we gotta get him on, bro. We gotta get you on there, bro. I got
like an Xbox. Not Xbox,
I don't play that much, but when I do play, I play with them time to time when I can. Shoot, I be busy. I just replayed through Sleeping Dogs again for like the 1,000th time.
I'm playing a couple things right now. I'm playing Gang Beast. I'm playing Fall Guys. I'm playing GTA, obviously. Yeah, I'm playing a bunch of stuff right now, bro.
So what you do?
Believe it or not, Sierra got me on the GTA. I wasn't even on it. Sierra got me on the GTA.
So you write a detection and then
I got a retro pie over here, so I'll be playing NBA Jam, bro. Tournament.
Hey, Jam still go in.
Oh yeah, he's always on fire. Yeah, that's what I rocks with. Old school.
So what you do? You write a detection, Eric, and then all of a sudden you go play the game.
Hey, that's it, bro. I do one thing and I'll be like, all right, that's enough work for the day.
Hey, trust me, I definitely feel you on that. I got
my gaming rig right next to my computer, so I'm always keep that thing on me, bro. Whoever ready. The E is for extra is the gamer tag. Just anybody's watching. The E is for extra is the gamer tag. I keep that thing on me. Let's go.
This red look better than that green. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, bro, that green go hard, bro.
I thought that was yellow. That's neon.
Yeah,
it's neon, bro.
All right, yeah.
And I got the black one. But no, man. If y'all listening right now, appreciate y'all for tuning in. I don't even know what episode this is right now, man. Just dropped episode 50. This episode gonna be in the 50s. I'm gonna give it a number later, because it might not come
episode
out right out the way.
156. I don't know. I'm just make a
But man, we got some security individuals here, man. You guys know the SOC coach, aka Eric Thomas, and we also have Anton Matthews here, Motivated Matt. He was on my podcast episode, From Sales to Security Analyst, and he's really been making some waves over what's that? What, 2020 or was that 2021 when we recorded that?
It don't matter, bro. Time is broke, bro.
It got me thinking. I think that was like 2 years ago, though.
It feel like it. I think it was. You know what? It was early 2021. I remember. But your episode
time is broken now, bro. Time ain't even real no more.
Right.
We in 2 pandemics. Like, time ain't even real no more, bro.
Right. I think your episode is like still in like the single digits. Like, that's how early on it was. Like that. Like, because that's when. Me and you recorded when I still was using Zoom. That's how I know it's a long time ago.
Yeah. Dude, I hella remember that. That's funny. I'm still using Zoom, but pick my game up a little bit.
Nah, I mean, you can use Zoom.
We got to upgrade the homie from Zoom.
The only reason I don't do Zoom anymore is because this program right here helps out with the audio, and it records on everybody's host individually and uploads it to the cloud. So therefore, it gives us better pictures, at the end.
Yeah, that better quality. That's what you need, man. Especially if you're doing an online podcast on the tube. I'm trying to look good. I mean, I need to see this Raiders hat.
Oh yeah. Speaking
that
of,
Raiders is cool. That Raiders is cool.
I knew he was about to do this.
You know what I'm saying? That Raiders is cool, but
ain't nobody.
We repping for the realists, bro. Making easy money. I'm not gonna do the rest. I'm not gonna do the rest.
Nah, give it to us.
Come on, man.
I'm not gonna do the rest, bro.
All I know is I think Raiders and Broncos gonna split 1-1 this year. I think it's gonna be 1-1 because they games was tight last year.
You got the hottest of takes right now, bro.
It's not a hot take.
Yeah.
They was in a lot of games last year, but they freaking offense was trash. They set Teddy Bridgewater up to lose. They would run the ball every first and second down and then try to make him throw something on third. Like, it was so predictable. Anybody could stop it. Like, if it wasn't for the defense, they wouldn't have won the game. Like, too many games, like, for real.
We don't talk football until after. We don't talk football until after December, bro. That's when we start talking football. But until then, it ain't even real. It ain't even real, bro.
I don't know.
Season games ain't even real.
Nah, every game count in NFL, like NBA.
Yeah.
It count. You know, I don't know what the Titans gonna do.
Preseason don't count.
Yeah, preseason don't count.
Preseason never counts.
But
they couldn't have practice squads during preseason, so that never.
Man, hey, listen. They still. Hey, shout out to the practice squad, man. Shout out to everybody. Knows. Shout out to I got some kinfolk that play for the Bengals. I need to get to one of them games this year, so I'm gonna try to do that. Hopefully. But y'all, man, like we're gonna try to.
They got to send the tickets, bro.
Oh yeah, he'll send them. It gotta figure out right. I ain't trying to go there when it's cold. I ain't trying to be in Ohio when it's cold. I was just in Ohio a couple of weeks ago and messing around. I had COVID. Like, that was crazy. Yeah, man, sick in the hotel. Imagine you going on a visit for a work trip and you sick in the hotel. I only went to the office one day.
Everything got remote.
I was just in. Yeah, I just in the hotel and I was sick. I was just laying down all day and I had to fly back home. And then I was sick a little while when I got back home. And then everybody bounced back.
Bro, we had a whole team fly out to the client. One of the clients got sick with COVID, infected 3 people on the team. The first day of the whole engagement, bro. Like, yeah. Better stay where you safe.
Hey, see, we ain't been doing no on-site engagements. Like, all of our engagements have been like remote, like pulling dead box. Like, I don't really do dead box, but like our forensic team doing dead box. And for us, it's just, all IR. So we ain't really had to go on site. Now, I was telling somebody, like, I remember when IR, you had to keep a 3, a 5, and a 7-day jump bag. Like, you had to keep it like sitting by the door. You had to keep a 3 or 5 or 7-day jump bag, and they would call you and be like, "Hey, you on the first flight in the next hour," and you'd be like, "How long's the engagement?" And you had to grab your 3, your 5, or your 7-day jump bag.
That sounds like some superhero stuff.
Hey, bro, that's how IR used to be. You had to keep your bag, and your jump bag had your Pelican case with your like right blocker, your laptop, like all that stuff in it, and then you had like enough clothes to last you those days. And like, you get a call, it's 11:30 at night, and they be like, "Hey, so and so just had a breach. Your flight is at 3 a.m. You go home, you shower, you sober up. If you live in my life, you sober up. You know what I'm saying? And you be on a plane, bro. That's how it used to be. But now it's very much like I'll be at home in an hour, and you get to your computer and you do your thing. But you used to have to keep a jump bag.
No, that jump bag, that life sound dope. That sound like, look, we really out here. I'm an operator, bro. It can happen whenever.
It's not, bro. Like you was ready for the smoke. Like, no, don't get it twisted. Like, when I was 22, it was the life.
Yeah.
I'll be 33 on the 19th. It's not the life.
A word?
It's not the life. I'll be 33 on the 19th, bro.
Man, you getting better. You getting better.
Hey, it is not the life now,
man.
bro. You call me now at 11 a.m. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, they in already? Oh shit, they already got action on objective. Shit, they got it, bro. We might as well just wait till tomorrow, bro.
They got it.
they won, bro. Ain't what you want me to do? They won already, bro. Like, man.
Hey, I just took my mug back. I got a subscribe mug. Oh well.
Hey,
but
y'all know who I'm rocking with. Y'all know who I'm rocking with. I ain't even got to say it.
We got the detection man right here, and I'm gonna switch it over real quick. Put my guy Anton on the spot real quick. It's been a while since he's been on the pod, and the last time he was on the pod, I think he was working with Sockbox.
Yeah. They end up switching their name up to Fit Solutions, so that's the new plug. If anybody want to check them out.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Man, let's talk. Well, man, I got up and out.
Right, yeah, well, no. It's not like talk about that. I wanted to say, let me finish that because Eric distracted me when he turned his camera off.
My bad.
Nah, you good. What I really want to say is like, let's talk about kind of like what you're doing right now. I mean, you told me you're doing some purple teaming, and what else you've been doing?
Oh yeah, man. Right now is yo, this is where we wanted to be at. When we first had that conversation, I told you, hey, look, man, I got some steps to take. Yo, we get in there. So right now, I'm more of a consultant, but I'm having a cool little mix. So I'm doing assessments. We're doing PCI. We're doing HITRUST. We're doing any and everything, under the rainbow. On top of that, I'm the point dude for any kind of social engineering campaigns or engagements we got. Then I'm heading up the purple team, running adversary emulation, using like Caldera and other tools like that. So yeah, man, I got my hands in everything.
So hold up, Anthony. Yeah. I got two questions. So the first is, you said you're doing PCI and HITRUST. Are you guys? So for the people who don't know, let's talk about what those are. Like PCI being credit card data and stuff like that. HITRUST being medical data. Mm-hmm. For the people who don't know, let's talk about what those things are and what that means when you say you're doing PCI and HITRUST. What does that mean for the listeners?
So PCI is any company that deals with like credit card payments. So it's funny because we talked about HITRUST too. So a lot of the situations that I've been in with our clients, they're like hospitals. Yep. So when you go in there, you pay for your treatment or whatever that is. So what I'm really looking for is, how are you protecting the cardholder data, mm-hmm. Within those transactions? Is it a secure, like, does your environment infect anything when it comes to this payment system, or is that a third party that's taking care of this? Going through it, making sure everything is good to go, and really just asking a lot of questions. Like, I don't want to know how big we're going to get into it. I can break it down, but essentially, like, if you deal with credit cards, whether you're a hospital or any kind of establishment, it's going to be some kind of PCI that you're going to be required to, abide by.
Right, mm-hmm. Right. Now, I wanted to make sure the listeners understood when we said PCI and HITRUST. So for the listeners, my man is dealing with credit card data on the PCI DSS side. That is a compliance framework. And then you have HITRUST, which is essentially a technical framework on top of HIPAA. So you have HIPAA, which protects patient data, and then you have HITRUST, which sets a few standards for your technical controls around that data. So HITRUST is essentially mm-hmm. the technological aspect of HIPAA, right? So HIPAA covers everybody in the medical space, whereas HITRUST says we can certify that your technological practices are compliant with this particular body. So Anthony,
hang on, I was gonna chime in.
Go ahead, DZ.
No, you good.
I was gonna chime in real quick and say that, like, gave me a bunch of questions.
Oh yeah, I already know he did. That's why I figured. I said this would. That's why I said this episode would be perfect. And I was just gonna add in, I think HITRUST is probably like less than. I could be wrong. Somebody can fact check me in the comments or whatever. But I think HITRUST is like less than 5 years old. I mean, less than 10. Because I think it was just ramping up.
Less than 10.
It was just ramping up.
Yeah,
it was just ramping up in 2018. And if I'm not mistaken, their headquarters is, and I want to say in Frisco, Texas. I believe that's out here in Frisco, if I'm not mistaken. Because I've seen that everywhere. Like HITRUST was like, HITRUST was everywhere in like 2018 when I was looking for the job search. And there was one people to know about it. I'm like, it just came out. You might know about this.
Well, I think it became a thing.
10 years of experience or something that just came out.
I think it became a thing when like medical records became digitized, right?
Right.
Like we got to talk about like
EHR stuff.
Depending on how deep we want to go, we can talk about a world post Roe v. Wade, reversal and what that talks about with HITRUST, but and what medical information gets shared there. But it's HITRUST is important. Like I worked for a medical company, and one of my jobs was to map NIST cybersecurity framework pieces of the chart to HITRUST, right? Because HITRUST was a big thing a few years ago, especially when we were remote, right? Because now all we're dealing with medical records. So for people who don't know, like, you might think, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with me. But if you're wearing a wearable, you know what I'm saying? If you're wearing a wearable that tracks your medical records, that tracks your heart rate, that tracks your menstrual cycle, and please, ladies, please forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, because I just don't know. It's out of ignorance. It's not out of purpose. But if you're wearing a wearable that tracks those certain things, then HITRUST comes into play. Because I was reading a Black Hills blog where they were talking about like some of the language that people aren't aware of in this Roe v. Wade is just like how invasive they can become into your wearable tech and your medical devices, right? So, like, for example, it's nothing for me, right? But if I have a daughter or a wife who's tracking their, monthly stuff, right? Then that stuff can be warranted by authorities at this point. So all of this data becomes important. Like, you're tracking your cycle in these apps and stuff like that. Like, that's all of this stuff that HITRUST comes into play. So I don't want to get into the political aspect of it too much, but I'm just pointing out like where HITRUST comes into play and where my man Anthony like really like his work affects all of the things that we do. Like, I track my workouts, my heart rate, and what I eat, and all this stuff in my watch, and all of that stuff goes right. All that stuff is considered health data. Am I right, Anthony?
Oh no, 100%. And it needs to be protected and treated like that. That's what. See, that's the whole other part of tech. You think of something like, hey, look, I got this little heart rate monitor, or I got X, Y, and Z, and it's tracking my stuff. But who's keeping that information?
Right.
Where is it?
Who's policing
the
police?
Securing it? Like, exactly, dude. So my favorite example is people that like are diabetic and they got the joint that's implanted in them. And I mean, everyone's and I think about this because I like hacking. So. That's sending information from, yourself to your provider. But what happens if that gets intercepted by a bad guy, a malicious actor, and all of a sudden they start pumping you full of insulin and you don't need it? I mean, so it's all
right.
Kind of
and but while y'all talking about HITRUST, that reminds me of all the IoT stuff. That's with the next 5 to 10, 15 years, how I've said, I think I said on this podcast and other places, how that's going to be its own industry subset of like new like cybersecurity jobs, because you have people monitoring like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, so this digital, I'm finna hack, like that Watch Dogs game. I'm finna try to hack this stoplight. Oh, okay, they got this going on with their cars, or this was going on in this smart city. I'm finna figure out how to hack this, like all this stuff. Like,
well, I mean, we see it happening in real life though, DZ. We see so like the Chinese, they just had their meeting, and they banned Teslas from the meeting. You know why they banned Teslas? Because they were like, oh, if a Tesla's in here, it could eavesdrop or it could carry out an assassination on one of these diplomatic leaders. So they was like, no Teslas in our event. You can't drive a Tesla. I think to Anthony's point, when we talk about HITRUST and we talk about these things, that's why these things matter, right? So say, for example, you have I think we think of it in a small, limited capacity, whereas like if you have a economic leader, right, who let's just say is diabetic, to his point, you could send that insulin pump into overdrive and you could really do some damage. So Anthony, my question is, with everything that's going on, what are people in the medical device area doing to secure these devices? Like with everything that's going on with all of this, because you remember a few years ago it was voter booths, right? With medical devices being the hot topic, with us knowing that people could reach these medical devices, what are we doing in that space to really secure these devices? And to be honest, can we secure these devices? Should these things be online?
I don't think you can secure them. Like, first, the one thing that I noticed when talking to clients and going over this situation is a lot of them has been implementing supply chain risk management, making sure that the people that's getting those pieces, like, they're actually abiding by, or they have some kind of security built into their development. And then once it's past that, it's really just locking down their environment. How secure can we make this? Make sure everything is encrypted. Do we have firewalls, things like that set up in terms of like how the information ingresses and degresses? But I think at the end of the day, like, it's never going to be zero liability or zero, risk. Everything is going to always have some potential for people to exploit it and get inside of it. So it's really a game of cat and mouse. Like, that's why as professionals in cybersecurity, once we find out, hey, this just happened, we put it out, not for other people to replicate it, but for other people like ourselves to get on game. Yeah. So what happened? It's gonna go back and forth. As soon as we fix it, honestly, the bad guys got the advantage because as soon as we put it out and we figured it out, they already own it. Like
all they got is time. That's the advantage they got over everybody. Time.
Oh, it's more than time, bro. Like I often tell people, security is like, imagine you're sitting in the middle of a room and they say, oh, this is a house full of 1,000 doors, right? And you got to protect the doors, but the locks change every 5 minutes and somebody else is controlling the locks. And then when that happens, a bad guy creeps in and he's like, hey, how'd you get in here? And they're like, oh, you forgot about the window. That's security.
Yeah.
That's InfoSec at a certain point. It's just like,
yeah, that's a good analogy.
So Anthony, let me ask you a question. And I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but is there a such thing as enough? Can we do enough for medical devices, for threat hunting in this environment? Because we're talking about a new level of threat hunting, right? Those of us who have been threat hunters for years, we've been hunting in Linux, Windows environments for enterprises forever. Are we doing enough for medical devices? Is what we're doing enough? And you don't have to give a definitive statement. I know that's a loaded question, but is what we're doing enough for securing that medical device space?
I feel at the moment we're doing, I don't even want to say enough. Okay. We're doing what we can because it's always something different, whether it's like, look, we don't have the finances to actually purchase all the equipment we need, or you don't have the support, or to be honest with you, like the medical industry, they just move slow. Yeah. They move like a government process, like the military. If you need something to get changed, it takes a long time. So even if, I think that with the limited capabilities that we do have, we're doing good, but it's definitely going to have to be some kind of infusion of finances, or really just from C-level and people that actually making these decisions, understanding like, hey, look, cybersecurity and threats, like this is one of our main priorities. Obviously, make it fit into your business strategy and everything else. But right now, I think that we're doing as much as we can with what we got. And it's cool because the people that's grinding hard right now, like, us, like we trying to figure out, faster ways to be more efficient and be more productive when it comes to, threat hunting and making sure these devices and everything.
Yeah. And I just thought about something while you was talking. It's like, who monitors the data from those devices? Is it the manufacturer? Is it the hospital? Is it another team? And what all type of information are they able to see? Like, that's what I really just thought about. Like, because I compared it to right. Because I compared it to your work. I compared it to like you having like a work laptop. Like, granted, that's simpler to think about in terms of something that's actually like implanted in your body or some wearable tech or wherever you're doing. Shoot, honestly, I mean, we all know, like, if we just to keep it a bean, our phones, like technically we know who's looking at it and we know that data's getting sold. Like, we know that.
Yeah, we know that data is not private. Yeah, for sure.
But I just really thought about that, like, who is seeing that and what all comes through. Like, that's an interesting. If anybody listens to this and they need something if they want to research or some type of project to do, that's something you should research and bring up in some type of interview or something. If you in college or something like that, or you're trying to make a way, like do a paper or a blog post on that. You're gonna probably attract a lot of people. You probably gonna get a job off of it just for the fact you might have thought about some things that people didn't think about. Because once you start thinking, you go down a rabbit hole of all the different possibilities of what could happen, like you was talking about earlier. So that's interesting.
Like, so this is what I tell people, especially because most people know me as like the red teamer. I don't say don't ever think of the use case. Think of the abuse case. You know what I mean? Like, think about like a cell phone is a perfect. Everybody got a cell phone. Everybody take pictures. Majority of your stuff goes straight to the cloud. So you take a picture on your iPhone, it's somewhere else. Who got access to it? Who's looking at it? What can they do with it once they get it? Can they track that back to you? You know, do they got metadata on there? Are they being able to know exactly where you live at or the location? Where you
no.
There's so many different.
No. See,
this is good.
No, that's because I was gonna bring up. See, we just go ahead and just protect the celebrities and get that bag from them because they stay getting hacked. So that's what we need to do.
But hold on, because I want to bag up. So, you know, I'm a detection guy. So I want to know, in your opinion, Anthony, when you working in this space, what can detection people do to sort of start to build out correlations and build out how we figure out this stuff? Because for a lot of us, we've been dealing with Windows, Linux, and Mac forever. How do we start to deal with these OTs and, you know, this? Well, first of all, let me say this.
What OS is all they running?
For those who don't know, OT stands for operational technology, and it is a different ball game from information technology. So for those of us who aren't aware, who are coming from the IT space, coming from the security space, the normal traditional security space, how do we start to address this? Like, what kind of skills can we build that will really get us into this space?
I think just learn more about. For me, the goal to everything is educate yourself. Educate yourself about the platform, about the OT. I think on one of the conversations I heard you and Henry with, you know, understand the process, understand how things work. So when you see something out of line, when that anomaly comes through, you prepare for it. You know, and variety yourself. You know, like don't only work in Linux. You know, try out different platforms, understand how they work. So you know, when the case comes, you good to go. Especially something like OT. Let's say you got a scatter device.
Most of us know about scatter devices, though. Right. Most of us don't. Most of us. So I work in retail, right? I never touch a scatter device. You know, how would we even begin to understand that? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, it's like Windows, Linux, Mac. That's it. You know what I'm saying? How would we begin to sort of creep into that world?
Right. But isn't that also in the realm of ICS?
Yeah.
Because they've been, I'm not going to lie, listeners, if you listening, ICS has been handing out a bag too. I'm just letting you know. Got a guy met with
ICS money.
Ernst & Young really gave him.
But who knows that though? I mean, Anthony knows it, obviously, but who else knows it?
Supply and demand.
See, but no, look. So this is the game. So look, this is easy, right? So I say,
right.
When it comes to us, a lot of the stuff is like exposure. You got to get exposure to different things. Even I had to get exposure into tech. You know what I mean, so that's gonna be more so like where you leaning to. Are you just complacent where you at? Are you constantly looking for different?
Hey, we should loop Gabe into this.
You know, articles, websites, blogs, podcasts, different things where you gonna gravitate. You know what I mean, to that information. Because if you stand in the same lane, I don't care how big ears is, you ain't gonna never hear it.
So I have a question.
You gotta put yourself in
for us old timers, because me and Deezy go back and forth all the time in personal conversations that never get recorded, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Me and him disagree sometimes. Like people think we get along all the time. We don't. We disagree sometimes. And so as one of those people who have been doing this forever, a lot of us feel like, okay, these are principles that we've been saying forever. How do we sort of balance that whole, like, this is a new sector, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, I don't feel bad mentioning this on the pod. Like on August 21st, it'll be 18 years for me. I've been doing this for 18 years. So when you come to me and you're talking about OT, I'm gonna be honest, bro. It's hard for me to like make that switch in my mind. Like, I got to deal with new operating systems. Hey, I'm just being honest. It's hard for me to make that switch. Like, I got to deal with new operating systems, new technology. How does a person who has been dealing with traditional enterprise technology even get into what you're doing? Because for a lot of us, it feels like it's a whole different thing. I don't know how to get in. Like, I don't know how to touch OT.
And I think, and before you get into
what you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say before you get into that, because I know he gonna have something good. I would say it's possibly a parallel, just like kind of what you're talking about. It's probably what people was talking about 5-10 years ago when cloud started really just making a boom. Like, how do I get into cloud, like security, like what? And even now they don't even have it defined that good. But I'll let you get into the OT part. But I really just thought about like the parallels. We're talking about OT and now cloud. And
I said OT because I'm trying to get the bag. No shade. I'm trying to get the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does a person move out of traditional space into that OT space? Like, how did you find, after all of your security background and your sales background, how did you find that OT space?
Let me see. Hey, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, man, my power went out, so that's why like,
yeah, we can hear you, but
the lights went out a little bit, so okay, it's coming back on, so I should be good in a second.
No, it's all good money, but no, like I wouldn't say that I'm exactly in OT, but you know the way that I got to where I'm at is honestly, man, just curiosity. Man, I worked at Google, and I was talking to one of my engineering boys, and he started pushing buttons on his computer. He was like, "Yeah, man, I got this automating my work for me." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty dope." Then he pushed some more buttons and messed up the homeboy's computer. I was like, "What'd you just do?" He was like, "Oh, I shot some stuff over there. So he'll find out about it later." So that took me to like, "Hey, look, well, I want to know how to do the same thing. I mean, I want to be able to get into tech and mess with stuff." And that's why I went more so to red team. But like, once again, I always go back to education, bro. If you want something, you're going to push for it. But I think it's on us as the people that's in the industry to break it down the same way we doing right now on the podcast to people in a simple way without using $1,000 words. You know, having it like the way my people, I try to keep it barbershop talk. Barbershop talk, and I'll get game, and then that's something that you like, pick it up and run with it. I hope that answered your question.
So to say that, could somebody who's building this traditional career, like me, like right, I went from SOC analyst to detection and response. Could somebody make their way from detection engineering and stuff like that in a traditional environment to the OT environment? Could we make that jump? Is that a jump that's easy to make? Because you see these companies standing up like Dragos and all these stuff who are in that OT space. For a lot of us, it's just like, I don't know how to make that transition into the OT space. Because I've been dealing with IT for my whole life. How does somebody make that switch? Because like you built a background in that. How does somebody make the switch from that IT space to the OT space? What steps or not steps, but like if you had to say, all right, here are 4 things you need to learn to make that transition from IT to OT, what would be your 4 things? And I know that's a loaded question. So like say for example, I've been in the market detecting Linux intrusions forever, right? How do I move to an OT space where now I'm dealing with drivers, I'm dealing with independent operating systems, I'm dealing with DNS3, all this different stuff. How do I make that transition?
So this is where this is my bit, and this is also what I do, what I practice, right? So if you are interested in OT, first I would say, why are you interested, right? Because that's really gonna drive if you can do anything. You're gonna get your ass up, or you're just gonna sit down and keep talking about it. Next thing that I would do is go to a role or a job description and look at what are some of the things that they got in here listed for your requirements in terms of experience that I know, and then take that list and figure out, what do I already know, what can I apply, or at least my skill set that I already have, and anything that you need to fill in the blanks with, the job resume. Outside of that, hop on LinkedIn. That's another way that I do. Go on LinkedIn. Somebody that got that particular title that you like, see what kind of stuff they into, and then network. That's my way of saying it without telling people, hey, get this direct skill. Because when different companies, they look for different things. And if you're interested in it, you're going to start getting,
there it is. Hey, there it is, listeners. Hey, if you're trying to make that transition from IT to OT, my boy, he don't want to say it, but he laid it out for you. DZ, I don't know. Oh, DZ's back on camera. His power just came back on.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a big important thing because a lot of us are making that transition from, the IT space to the OT space. A lot of us, especially, I was telling somebody, as far as malware researchers, I'm seeing new malware that I've never seen, you know what I'm saying, in the OT space. And I have to hit somebody like you up to be like, hey, bro, what am I seeing? But what you're saying to me is there's a market for this. There's a market for this.
Right. And I'm back. I don't know why only my room. I guess I got these hot lights on. But what you're talking about is like how he just said hitting you up. And it's kind of one of the things I was talking about to McKenna. It's like building this network of people that have all different type of, specialties. So now in interviews, sometimes they might ask me a question like, okay, yeah, I may not know that, but I have this network of people that are professionals that could give me some tips on this. Like I know a specialist in this space. I can get the answer for this relatively pretty quickly.
Yeah. On that note, like one of the things I do on the side is I teach at an academy and teach, high school students and even like young professionals how to perform social engineering, like run full social engineering campaigns, phishing, the whole thing. But, the academy, it don't teach just specifically that. Like we go over everything. Well, a pretty well-versed, portion of cybersecurity to get people understanding what they potentially into. So I want to ask E and you, Henry, like, what are some things that if people wanted to, land in your position, Henry, or land over where E is and hop into that world, what are some things that they can learn?
You couldn't. I don't know if Eric can hear, but on my end, it's like your mic was cutting in and out a little bit. I would love to
hear y'all answers.
I heard a little bit, but yeah.
I didn't hear everything he said.
Can you hear me now?
Well, I was just gonna assume he's talking about detection and response and detection engineering. For me, the thing that people could learn, like, so when I interview an analyst, some of the things I look for is just, do you know how Windows works? Do you know how Linux works? Like, do you know how these operating systems work when they're performing in normal capacity? I feel like a lot of the training we do, capture the flags, try hacking, all this stuff, which I love, but none of it shows people how this stuff is supposed to work normally. And so one of the things that it takes the most amount of time in my SOC to learn is just like, hey, Google, when you Google something, say for example, you do a Google search, there are 6 or 7 domains that are going to come back automatically. They got Apsis, they got their tracking API, they got all this stuff. These things are going to come back automatically. So just teaching people the normal operation of business. There's this thing where it's like when analysts come into the SOC, they think everything is malicious, bro. Everything is malicious. And I just sit there and I'm just like, man, like, bro, like, nah, bro, like, Google has maybe 30 APIs that are normal. Oh wait, did he drop?
Hopefully, he might have dropped on his end. Hopefully, he can come back because sometimes it's hard.
Right, I'm gonna keep it going for the threat hunters. Like Google has maybe 12 to 15 APIs that happen for no reason, in your DNS search, and you got to be ready for that. And so the biggest thing I would say is just to understand, people don't come into an enterprise understanding that what you got to do when you first get there is know normal. Understand
that's what I was looking for you to say. Knowing normal. And that could be hard, especially if you're going somewhere that in some situations, they don't even, like the people you working with, like if it's like a brand new SOC and everything and all the log data is like fresh, sometimes some people don't even know what's normal. So it's going to take you. What's that?
What you talking about?
I thought I seen some smoke.
What you talking about? Just ignore it, bro. Just don't talk about that.
Anyway.
Are you in my business, bro?
He got that guilty face. Now you get your hand caught in the
just
cookie
relax,
jar.
Bro. Just relax, bro. Just relax.
Boy,
we ain't gonna talk about that.
No, it caught me off guard. But anyway, yeah, definitely know it's normal because like you said, like they get in there. Oh, this is a wild, wild west. It could be something like I said. I think we're talking about something simple. Somebody come into the side. I think there's one with me, you, and Roses on, and they don't even know about like service accounts or nothing like that. Some simple service accounts, and they see the service account doing all this stuff, and then they say, "Oh man, look what this thing doing." Blah blah. And they just spent 2 hours looking at service account stuff when they didn't understand, even from naming convention, that 9 times out of 10 that's a service account. Let me go actually research this, and probably only spend 5 minutes on this. Or do some research on like, hey, this account do this every time.
How many companies are providing that time though? Because a lot of these stocks are like, they think they're up against a time limit, and that's why we got to do better training. Because you got a lot of these stocks. I'm glad you said that, bro.
Oh, like no, because not to cut you off, no, because when I was in the stock, man, that was the one thing I hated. Like it took them 3 months to realize, oh, we don't really got no training. You know, we just tossing people into the hot seat, and that time thing. It's something very important, especially if you don't first know how to understand what the logs are telling you, and then you got somebody, on the back end, like, hey, you got to handle this quick, and it's a priority to it. So, if you put somebody new that they think they might know some terms or some vocabulary, but they don't understand how processes work and the flow of things, then it's only going to make the job that much harder, bro, like, to be honest with you. So I think it needs to start in the culture from the organization. Have that shit set up already so you don't got those issues.
And I'm gonna ask you this because out of us three, you're the newest to the party, but you really put in that work on the back end when you did all the different certs. I forgot what all certs you said you got when we did our pod or whatever. And I know you outside it's like all the stuff you be working on. But you just touched on like, hey, like they ain't had no training or nothing for y'all. In your experience, if you would do it over again, would you still go the route of getting the certs that you did get in the beginning, or would you get like a couple and then focus on some of the things that you learned to do now? Would you focus on more so doing the job versus getting the paperwork?
Jinx.
That's a good question.
So Pete, this is the cool part about it. Like so for the role that I'm in right now, to be honest with you, my marketing and sales background is what helped me with this. I'm good at talking to people. Like I understand body language, and I can get people. I can build a rapport. I can do that, right? So when it comes to my certifications, would I still took that same route? Absolutely, because by me getting my certifications, for half of them, I was still in my master's program. So it was giving me direction. It wasn't like, hey, look, this is a whole bunch of stuff. And once I dialed in and said, look, I want to be a hacker. I want to be I want to break people's stuff. Then that led me down the path of, okay, get the pen test plus after I got the security plus. Then I think I told you, first thing my mentor said was, hey, what if they don't got nothing on-prem and everything is in the cloud? Well, that took me to, okay, let me understand the cloud now. So my certifications, I wasn't just getting them because I saw somebody on LinkedIn say they got it or because the job break said I needed it. I got this because I wanted it. So it helped me get to this position. So now when you talk about different aspects, like I can break it down for you. And I'm excited about it. And the cool thing about it is I'm not just a techie dude. So you're going to relate to me like everything else. So it make everything that much smooth. I said a wave.
Yeah. No, most definitely.
I think we deal with that. We deal with that, Henry. Like the certifications versus the degrees, like versus the experience, like all of those things come into play. So what I want to say for you, Anthony, is like, and I hate to put you on the hot seat, but
just do it, bro.
If you had to take your certifications, your degrees, and your experience, which one of those do you feel like is the most valuable?
Experience, hands down.
Okay,
hands down. But for me, remember, everybody's route is different. That's why even on my podcast, I say, hey, look, everybody got a different route. Right. The experience was so important for me is because I had to gain that experience. The only way that I was able to gain that experience was through the certifications and understanding things, so I can go out and make my own experience, making my own home lab and things like that. But
now you can go ahead.
Oh no, pretty much the experience. Like no matter how you got to get it, you got to get it. So when I was even my my capstone project, We broke into somebody's cellular devices. The solar that's on your house, it's a device that control all that stuff. And you can monitor it. We broke into that and was able to pivot into somebody's home network. So, like, for me, that counted as experience. All to try hack me, to hack the box, all that counted as experience. Me being on YouTube for 30, 40, 50 hours and then learn how to replicate a lab to, attack myself, that's all experience. But I had to build that up, because when you get into the big leagues, when you get into the game, if you ain't had no practice,
put me in, coach.
You looking good, bro, yeah, you gonna flounder. So experience, make your own experience until you get some legit experience.
But see, you had a mentor and a strategy, and we can tell that by what you're saying on what you was doing. You went to a good school to actually you did a good project, because that's a wonderful project to actually have on a resume, because they're gonna be intrigued. Even if they don't pick you, they're gonna ask about that. But what you've seen before, and we run into, because I think one of the guys I talked to before, I think you and him was talking. I haven't checked on him in a while, but he had all these certs, but he didn't really have a direction, and he didn't know what he wanted to do. He just was getting the certs, right? And a lot of people will just get all the certs, but they don't know what they want to do. Like one guy, he's in I don't know what master's program he's in, but he put his resume out. I think he had a background like in pharmacy and stuff like that, which he did some decent stuff in his job, just wasn't marketed very good. But he was looking for some entry-level cybersecurity roles, and he had like the certs he had. But I was like, hey, if I'm looking at this, like, what's your value cybersecurity wise on this resume? All I see is some certs. Like, nothing on here shows me you know how to do something, right? And I think that's what people get caught up in. It's like, okay, cool, you got this and that, but where your projects at? Like, you got these tools, you got Nessus and Burp Suite and all this other stuff on here. What on your resume, project or something you did, shows me you know how to use this stuff, besides you just took some keywords and threw them on your resume?
Bro, I think that's the industry, bro. Like, I think that's the industry. I don't have a lot of certs. So for anybody who's watching, just so you know, Blue Team Thomas, the E is for extra. I got 2 certs. I got 2 security certs. I have my Security Plus, and I have my CISSP. That's it. I don't have any other security certs. I think most of what I built has been on experience. But I think that I want to say this right, because I don't want to offend nobody. There was a period where we sort of pretended like certs were experience. Like, you could go get your Security Plus, you go get your CISSP, you go get your CYSA, you could go do all these things, your OSCP, and we're not even going to talk about the whole like marketing of red teaming that went on, like because there was a whole era where like everybody thought cybersecurity was all red teaming.
Oh yeah, just go get your CEH. Pay that $500. You finna get a hacking job.
Bruh, the CEH shit, you ain't making it, bruh. You ain't making it.
And yo, I've been telling people like blue teamers make way more money. Like, I've been telling somebody, like, you become a detection engineer. Detection engineers are coming in at 130, 140. Easy.
Probably
Easy.
More though.
Okay, so look, not to cut you off. So the bag is the bag. So I think this is like that talk you just spit right there. Okay, so look, that's almost the same. So at one point, Red Team was marketing. Everybody thought they was about to be Mr. Robot. So let me hop up in this. And right now, everybody is like, I don't care what you're interested in. All they see is bag, 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 bag. So that's why I think it's a whole lot of people that's like, I'm going to go and grab all these certs up. Especially if you don't have no direction and you seeing all these people, you know, in the job requirement, HR, they asking for, you know, either you got this experience or you got X, Y, and Z cert. So my whole thing is like, don't forget about the bag, forget about what look glorious or look flashy out there. What the hell is your why? Like, what are you interested in? Like, by the way you talk about this stuff, E, like I could tell, like you've been 18 years in the game, but it's not just because, you know, I want the money. At some point, it was like, I actually enjoy this. I'm about to learn. I'm about to dig my hands and grow with this.
It's a sport for me, bro. It's a sport for me. At this point, Like me and my boy, shout out to Cyber Rev. You know, I got to give a shout out to him. Shout out to Max Prod IT. Shout out to Cover 6. Hey yo, DZ. I know you don't like it. This ain't a plug for me, but
I don't care. Like, plug anybody.
Shout out to Max Prod IT. Shout out to Cover 6 Solutions, the companies I teach for. But it gets to a certain point where this is just a sport, bro. Like, this is just some shit I compete at. Like, I'm trying to build the baddest black sock team that anybody's ever seen.
Hold on, not you trying to build, you building it. You building it.
Right, I'm building it.
I'm gonna build it.
No, I'm building it first, bro. We're gonna kick your team's ass. But anyway.
No, because you're gonna be on the team. So how you gonna kick my team's ass?
Oh, you're right. I'm always down for your team. But my point is, Anthony, the point is, we don't know, bro. Like, to what you're saying, like, the red team did so much good marketing. Everybody thought they were going to be hackers. Everybody thought they were going to be Mr. Robot. To where it's like, when we get over here on the blue team, bro, we have a hard time recruiting. Like, I right now, anybody that's listening, damn, I hate to do this because Henry, you know I don't put my jobs out there on social media. I'm hiring for a SOC analyst right now. Bro, don't do that, bro. Don't do that, bro. I'm hiring for a
SOC analyst. They can't even read what it says.
Now.
They can't even read what it says.
I'm hiring for a SOC analyst right now. If you have a Security Plus, please DM me. We got
one.
Do this again.
We got an analyst for you.
Talk about this.
I don't know. Hey. I got a couple.
Hey, shout out to one of the best analysts I know who's not an analyst yet, but he is cooking. I'm not even gonna give his name. Shout out to my boy Greg. I'm not even gonna give his name. You know.
No, I got another one. Hey, shout out to Mercedes though.
Oh, we ain't talking about.
Hold on, let me get a shout out.
Hey,
give a shout out to my boy Campanella Godfrey.
Oh yeah,
one time.
Cardano.
Yeah.
Can you give a shout out to Sadie's? Sadie's is my girl. Sadie's my girl. I'm learning Russian right now because of Sadie's. So.
Oh, Duolingo. Yeah, that's what she's always pulling.
I mean, I'm learning Russian right now, bro, because I'm trying to. But you know, the thing is, I think that us old schoolers, you know, who have been doing this for a while, we want people who know the stuff. So, what I'm asking you, Anthony, is with OT being such a new space, how are you guys making that decision? Because for us in the detection engineering space in Windows and Linux, we have history, right? Like, we know what a person needs to know. How are you guys making those decisions?
Well, remember, like, I'm a consultant.
Yeah.
So I'm not OT.
Okay, that's true.
I'm a consultant.
And I just thought about some, like, I think I kind of got a way that they might be doing it. Like, you know, like with the Apple Watch, how it's helpful now is like, I think if somebody's heart rate starts like going over what it's supposed to or some other stuff, you can set it up to where like you probably like call 911 or something or send somebody your way. Can it do that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it can do all that. Like it'll send you information, but the other cool part about it is like they sell your information. I mean, like Fitbit.
Oh yeah. Man,
Fitbit
had freaking
Rescue 911, but
breaches and everything. But dang it. Well, I was getting at like far as like when he was talking about OT stuff, like how are they going to have context for to kind of see what's going on? So like if you see a spike up on somebody's, like you said, like something like insulin or something like that, like, you know, that might be cause for pause. Maybe they have our own little calls in there and call them or that person. I don't know how old that age might be, and check on them. Literally check on them. Say, hey, how you doing? You know, we saw you had your thing on and we see this activity from you. You want to see, you know, is everything okay? And they may say, oh yeah, you know, I feel fine or whatever. Then they might say, oh, this might be an anomaly. Let's double check, you know, what's going on. Or we might say, hey, we're sending somebody over there to go check on you. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but that's like the support side of one part of what they can do. That's not security related. It kind of is, but it's not when it doesn't really.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like just from a general perspective, that seems like it can fall into a few different buckets. And I think that's a good example because this tells people how their skills are translated. So, because on one end, I thought, okay, that could almost be like a SOC. Like, hey, we got somebody here managing, their heart rates or whatever that may be. And if you see an anomaly, report it. Or that could also be a customer service rep that work for the company that they just get an alert sent to them. So off the top, they're calling and making sure everything is good. But that definitely does create some, what ifs. Like, how do we?
And that's what I was getting at earlier about like who gets the logs, like who's doing what with it, like how. Like think about like those things like do they have internet or how do they read them? Like all those things are like.
Well, I mean, also Henry, we get into privacy, right?
Right.
Do you want Do you want me as a security professional seeing what your heart rate is, or tracking that as normal? How do we track that as security professionals? Because let's say for example, I'm gonna just say a person I know, a person I love, their heart rate is being tracked. Do I want as a security professional? So let's say their heart rate goes above normal, right? As a security professional, do I want to be able to reach out to them? So where's the line? Where's the line as far as privacy?
So that's an interesting concept, right? So we know like with logs or whatever, like you can regex and parse stuff out, so it's not readable on our end. So I would assume that, hey, because they aren't the hospital, you screw up the logs where they don't see what your blood pressure and your heart rate's being for whatever. All they see is it's a spike in activity with this person or whatever. Like it's very generic or whatever. Hey, this activity is different.
Like,
let's just
need to know.
Let's just check on them or whatever. Let's call them. I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking of. Like, it's scrubbed to where they don't.
So what you got to think about that though, DZ, is like for somebody who's in a post Roe v. Wade world, what if this is my girl, right? This is my girl. We've been dating for a while, and she goes and she buys a birth control test on Amazon, right? And that birth control test comes back positive, and then she crosses state lines. How does that affect? You see what I'm saying? That's a big effect, bro.
Yeah.
Are we as security professionals supposed to be able to? So, like, you see something like that as a security professional, what are you doing? Are you reporting that?
See, that's interesting because that's like a whole different scope of. I get what you're saying, but
should we even be seeing that?
No. Well,
should we even be seeing it as detection engineers?
So I do not think we should see that because I don't think that's important for us to know. I don't think that has to do with the person living or dying. Right. So that's what would be my use case if somebody brought us. I don't think we don't need to know that. That's not our business. We're just in the business of making sure these people are living, or if they need assistance, we get And I'm pretty sure.
So then, why collect that data? That's what I can do. Why collect that data?
But I think that's bigger on those apps you were talking about earlier, because all the apps just say, nobody read all the terms and agreements. They just hit accept. I think that's more so on them.
They just hit it.
But what I thought about just now is, I bet people like us are having the same type of conversation at Life Alert.
Hold on, real quick. We'll just bring it back to the menstrual cycle situation. So my thought process is like you collect that information because they wanted you to have that information at some point. But I don't think as security professionals we would be looking that much into it, because if somebody's skipped the menstrual cycle or something like that happened, that's not no breach. That's not a compromise. So like you said, like why am I even looking at it? Like that's not something that I would be alerted on. That's just somebody that like the information is going somewhere, but it's not like in my hands. I'm not looking at it. I'm not keeping a chart of it. And by you having this device, obviously.
Right. But now the tricky part is if they start doing weird mandating type of things or stuff like that, and that might be where he was trying to get at. Now that's the tricky part.
Yeah. But if that's reported, then it's kind of like, damn, you got to, right?
Do you though? And that's the thing. That's the thing I'm looking at with this whole like post in a post Roe v. Wade reversal society. It's like, where do we? And obviously, for our listeners, I'm not trying to make this political. You know what I'm saying? But where do we draw the line as security professionals? Like I am a security professional. Where do we draw the line? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to enforce a national law. I'm not trying to enforce a federal mandate, because as security professionals, what have we been taught, right? You don't give a fuck what's in the box. Protect the box. Like, I don't care what's in the box. If you give me a box and say, hey, protect this box, I'm gonna be like, all right, ain't nobody touching this box. I'm not gonna look in it. I don't care what's in it. I don't care. But as men who have daughters, sisters, mothers, loved ones who we care about, at what point with this whole thing are we just like, hey man, this ain't cool, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that takes morals of people in these companies to say, hey, we not down with doing that. So y'all can find us or do what y'all want to, but we not doing it.
So Anthony,
yeah, man, I might take the unpopular opinion here, and it's just because my military background.
Somebody who works for our internet companies and for our companies who deal with personal data, do you think that we are taking that moral high ground as an industry? All right, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. I see your face. That's all I need to know.
But I mean, it's such a nuanced question, though. I think that's the hard part about
It's not though, bro. Like, are we peeking into people's shit? It's not a nuanced question.
Well, I don't. But see, I don't even know. I mean, or maybe probably some apps you probably can see that on that end. So I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that's a collective whole. That's the whole part. Like I was like, I don't know. Like what happened?
Like this is the way I look at it. So in terms of, being in people's privacy and their information and stuff like that, personally, I'm not with it. Like you said, because I got 2 daughters, I got a wife. I mean, like I can understand how invasive that can be.
He lagged out for me.
But with me being previously in the military, the way I'm looking at it is like when you if you work for an organization, like when I worked in the military, it was things that we did that I didn't really approve of, but I was in the military. So raise your chest up, bro, and make it happen. And that's the same thing that we're looking at in this situation. Well, if this is something that's mandated by the government and they saying if you work for these companies, you got to report it, cool. But if you don't, I think that's a bigger situation. That's like, we're going to need a movement. We're going to need a way. We're going to need more wokeness around, or whatever the hell you want to call it, around that particular subject until the climate changes. And then the people that's in those positions, they bring it from the top down.
But hold on. Because, I mean, and all of us have some sort of vested stake until our women, right? Whether it's our daughters, our sisters, our mothers. I'm not going to get into the details about our personal lives, but come on, fellas. Like, these are our people we talking about. If it's your daughter, like, and try to level with me on this. If it's your daughter, right, and your daughter's starting her cycle, do you want the government to know about that in a way that could hinder her from moving to another state, from doing all the things that she wants to do in her life?
So look, let's fall back. Watch this. So do y'all remember at Target? This is when I was in marketing. This is another reason I got into cybersecurity. Marketing is more invasive than anything you could think of. So what they were doing is when women went to Target and they purchased particular things that had to deal with like pregnancy and baby clothes, they tracked that to the point to where they knew when you were about to have your baby shower and stuff like that. So it's already out there, bro. It's not a situation of do we want people in our situation in terms of like covering stuff.
I would just suggest like if that's happening and what we see the trend is, hey, let's make our own little off the network sheet and you do it the old fashioned way. And you might forget, that might be hard to remember, especially for a child. But if that's what you're going to be up against because that's the rule, then that's probably the way to mitigate doing it that way until something changes. I don't really have a good answer right there.
It just seemed like this is like, for me, it's like, look, it's a cost benefit. That's what it's going to be. People are going to find that it's probably easier for them to track, whatever it may be, your heartbeat, your pace, whatever it is, they're going to sell it to you as, look, this is the benefit. And then at the end of the day, you're going to get rid of everything else. You're going to be like, look, I'm going to rock with it because it's making my immediate situation easier. So, yeah, it might be more intrusive or more invasive, but did it get the job done? Or now you back at the drawing board trying to figure out how you're going to track the situation?
I think that we as security professionals are taking this too lax. I think that as men who care about women, who care about the women in our lives, we have to step up and we have to say, like, hey man, like this app it's not good for you. Like don't use this app. I don't want to shit. I really didn't want to put this out there, but like the a lot of these tracking apps are saving your data. You know what I'm saying? They're saving your data and they're sending all this data. So from an OT standpoint, right? Because this is new ground that those of us who have dealt with IT have never had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? We've never had to deal with like, okay, do I want my mom or my sister or my daughter tracking their cycle on this app? You know, what if we're family planning?
Right.
What if we're family planning? What if we want to have a family soon, but we don't necessarily want the government in our business? We have to think about this now.
Yeah.
As security professionals, are you not thinking about it? Are you not like, you know, we think about what our doorbells are doing. We think about what our speakers are doing. Are you not thinking about what that shit is doing?
I think we all are.
I mean, I am.
I think we are. I think everybody.
Man, I think about.
I was gonna say everybody just has their own different way of the level of what they would do or share on apps, opposed to how much they would not, you know, want to be connected and sharing.
All right, so check this out.
Think about it like what I do. Like everybody got their own risk tolerance, bro. Like I tell people all the time, like I don't got a lot of apps on my phone. Like I know people that got Twitter. I think that's your Twitter handle. Twitter do all kind of crazy shit with your data, and you when that terms of service, read through it. They do a whole, you know what I mean?
I use Twitter a lot,
for me, but I would never do it.
It's a difference.
So, but
it's a difference. Are you ready for that thing to share your health information?
So I mean,
health information is different.
Listen, I think that this we need to do this again, and I'm going to actually do like research on it when we prepare for it, and we can do this live on YouTube, right? With some other people, like my guy Gabe, he does ICS stuff, and so he may have another way, like because we were talking about the scatter stuff and all that stuff earlier, to where he maybe thinks about this on a different level from how that goes, and like some other people, and maybe even it might be touchy. I don't know if I want to do that, but even women, that's like might be cybersecurity. Like, what do they do? What are their steps? Let's get
Kenna, let's get Sierra on here. Let's see how they feel about it, because the thing is,
but I will say though, the hard part about doing that is I just got to be mindful, because that stuff affects them more than us. So sometimes that convo can go like this, even though, you know what I'm saying, like we care, but it ain't us. It ain't like the government came out.
We gotta listen though, bro.
No.
But I think that's and that's why I think they
definitely most
their
definitely
point of view is that much more valid, because
definitely. I was just saying how
them. Like we're the allies.
Make sure like we can control it into where you know how they go, because that is tough. Like when that happened on when the news broke and like Twitter was in shambles, and you kind of like as a man like I don't know what to say or do. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the hard part. It's like you're not that kind of helpless in saying something, because it don't even make sense of why it happened.
Yeah, I think we have to look at it as like men who have daughters, right? This is why I always bring it, and I try not to bring it to this point for dudes who aren't ready, right? But as men who have daughters, we have to think about like, okay, I have a daughter. At some point, she's going to go through this period where she has, cycles, right? There's nothing I can do about it. Do I want the government to be able to look at that and say, okay, oh, I've been watching your cycle and you're about to be pregnant, so now you can't cross state lines because you're about to be pregnant. And you know what I'm saying?
So, and also, so the question also is not only just for the app. So, what does that mean for hospitals? Let's say she went in to the doctor because they was late. Mm-hmm. Like, what does that mean? Who is their information protected, or is the government gonna find?
No, it's not. It's not. We know that. We know that
based on
the way they reversed Roe v. Wade. We know it's being tracked. We know it's not protected. So what do we do?
But do you have an opt out? Do you have an opt out? Do you have an option to say, like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want this app.
It's not protected via HIPAA. This is information that everybody just has access to. This is what I'm saying.
So how many of those apps are out there that do that? Because then now we could find their websites and actually check on their news. Hey, what are they doing regarding this new news? Are they going to update? Are they going to pretty much start being HIPAA compliant, dealing with like HITRUST and all? Are they going to start doing that with these apps? But I know a lot of these apps are free, so I think they make money probably like selling advertisements and stuff on the app. I don't know. I'm a man. I've never used one of these apps before, but
I agree.
I
don't know. We don't know.
How are they? Because I don't know how much money these apps make or generate. How are they going to get compliant? How much is going to cost them? Who's going to foot those bills for them? I think that.
See, but I think we shouldn't even be asking that question. Like they should, since they have that information, they should have to deal with some kind of regulatory body.
That's what I'm saying. I think they can just stand up for app or whatever.
Out, or they can't.
We're not dealing with the GDPR. We're not dealing with any of that. They don't have to disclose this shit to us. What are you supposed to do? But can you say that though? Can you say that though?
Use them.
Can you say that though? As a man, we can say that. Like as men, we can say that, right?
Look. So look, man. All technology is all right. So look, the piece of paper that I got over here is the same piece of technology of this damn Word app, bro. Like it's the way that people was keeping track of this stuff before technology and apps happened. If y'all guys got to go back to the caveman ages to do it, but you can stay
on. No. That's what I. That's what I say. That. No. That's what I said earlier because I don't know what alternative there is.
As men, we can say, "Oh, we're only gonna," because like me. I track my shit in the Apple Watch, right? How many workouts I'm doing, how many calories I'm burning, right? A day. I track my weight. I track all that stuff. As men, we're looking at different data than they're looking at. What I'm saying is the women that we love in our lives, I don't know, man. I think that the OT space with this Roe v. Wade reversal, we need to be talking about a little bit more because it affects them a lot more than the way it affects us.
And then at that point, I feel like that's when we should be listening to them. That's because I feel like we should just be listening to them and they should be driving the conversation and we riding shotgun. Because like you said, because in my opinion, like I'm like, hey, look, if it's gonna do something or disclose some information that I don't want, I'm gonna fall back. But I can't speak for everybody. Like same way you just said, like it's probably things on my West computer. I'm like, you probably shouldn't have been using that, and she falling into it anyway. But at the end of the day, it's all personal choice. And I think as men, like I think you got daughters. We got a voice. Now I'm not saying you got to listen to my voice. Yeah, but like that, it hit different when you get to our age. We're not little kids. Like I understand how the system works, and there's certain things that I don't want them to be a part of. But at the end of the day, it's like I can only give so much. And then if you choose to go that way, all right, cool. Let me figure out how I can help you. Like what I'm thinking right now, and this is me being like the red teamer, is how can we get away from that? What's an app?
Shoot, how can we hack the apps and just take all the data they got?
I don't know.
Well, I'm not gonna say that, bro, because I got all these tattoos and shit. People already be looking at me. I gotta be cool. Like I actually had a police officer be like, "Hey, I see your tattoo," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like he saw my guy Fox, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm watching you." I don't know, man. I didn't mean to bring it up. I'm just saying, as detection engineers in this OT space, like you guys are dealing with some things like that. Detection engineers in this traditional space, because I'm very much in the traditional space, right? I am tracking bad guys. I'm tracking bad guys who want to steal money. You're tracking bad guys who want to do actual like harm to people.
Yeah, and I just thought about a detection too. It's like, hey, what if somebody hacked into these apps and they messed up they stuff for their periods and stuff?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
So that's something that probably nobody thought about it.
Yeah. Now repudiation, how do you even say, dude? So this is the crazy part about it. You got these apps. So say they got administrators, because I'm thinking just from a auditor right now. So who got all admin access? Is it shared? Is it one person that got access to this? And then from another standpoint, it's like
how do we know it's that person who said? How we know somebody friend then figure out they password and go in and do the crap? Like it's a whole bunch of different. Right. So it's a lot, man.
I think until we figure out all these answers, then I don't think that any kind of law is going to be able to hold up to.
So how do we protect our people then?
Like we've been on a conversation
because they got to track it, right? You got women in your life who like, I got to track this stuff. How do we protect our people?
Listen, I don't have the answer. I don't. That is
because at the end of the day, it's like we all have daughters. Like how do we protect our people? If they're not doing this, how do we protect our people? What do we do?
Our ultimatum isn't a good one. Not ultimatum.
We go vote. We go vote. First of all, let's everybody bake that up. You go vote in your local elections, right? Everybody go vote in your local elections. But I'm just saying, as men, we talk about how we protect Black women all the time. How do we protect our people? Because we're doing family planning. We're doing and all I'm saying, fellas, is we have to pay attention to the technical aspects of this. How do we protect our people? You know what I'm saying? Because we're family planning. We're trying to make these things happen. We don't have a way to protect our people. I feel like this is just another extension of, things of these laws restricting us from being able to protect Black women the way we need to protect Black women, because we can't now, right? If their data is out there, we have to either be able to oh look, anything's gonna happen or whatever, or we have to fight against the system in the OT space, in the IT space, and be like, no, you can't capture that data. But then we're losing jobs, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't have a way to protect our women.
That's why and we probably got to leave it on that note, because we could probably go another hour and a half, get into this, because one's
you're right. That was on me. That was on me.
No. It's good. I think because you post stuff that
this was
saw on the TL, but we didn't go. This is a technical deep dive that I think all the women listeners that I do have, I think would enjoy. And I think when they listen to this, they maybe have some solutions. Like I said, I'm pretty sure some people probably tried to draw up some solutions to these things once all this stuff was announced. And that's why I said, if we circle back to this at whatever time, and then we all can do some research on the back end, hey, this is what people are trying to do. These are probably the top 5. I saw some women with some threads, hey, stop using this, stop using this, stop using this, And that's why I said we bring the women in, because they deal with this. My little girls are small, so I'm kind of far removed away from all this, And I have a lot of women friends, but it's not something I'd never really asked them about. Hey, how you what do you try? I didn't really. But he really made me realize that I didn't ask them. And maybe because I felt like it was such a sensitive thing when it came out, I didn't even know to just hit them up and ask them how. I think I maybe asked people how they feel or whatever. But other than that, I didn't say much about kind of telling them what to do, asking what they plan to do, just because I kind of felt like there wasn't. I don't know. I kind of felt like it wasn't my place or whatever. I don't know. It's.
No, I get what you're saying. I had that same thing. My wife asked me, and I was like, "Love, I can't give you a forward answer because it really don't affect me. If it affects me, but it's indirectly. So it's not I don't have I got a dog in the fight, but at the same time, it's I don't know exactly what to say because it's not my decision.
And I kind of leave it with this
it's
because
just
it's
weird. It's like one of
ironic
those
when we talk about Twitter.
Areas.
That same day, Buddy was like, "Oh, Phyllis, we just got to go do our job." First of all, it's like, "Oh, go get snipped or whatever." And I was like, "Nah, that ain't it." And women and droves came and called me all types of names just because I said I didn't want to do something. You know what I'm saying? Just because of like whatever the ruling is. And a lot of people jumped the gun, not even knowing. Like in some cases, you can't even just go get snipped. I think most of the time you got to have a couple of kids or something like that before you can get snipped.
Yeah, you gotta have two. So in some states, you gotta have two minimum.
Right. So that's why that was a dumb tweet anyway to start with, because you can't just go do it. And just from me saying that, like all type of, I was like, women's like, oh, this is for people that get women, and I was like, y'all are dumb. Like I get it, y'all upset, but I didn't say nothing, to really offend y'all in this thing. And the person probably tried to
think about that though, bro.
No, but I had.
But wouldn't they be getting mad at you for the same reason? Because it's your body, right?
Think about that.
Like that's the same damn argument.
And this is what I'm saying. Like this is why this shit is so divisive for us, man. We got to think about that. Like, I mean, we're in a situation where, as men, we can do whatever the fuck we want. You know what I'm saying? As men, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Nobody is questioning whether we can go get Viagra, whether we can go get snipped, whether we can go get any of these things. But as men, that's what we can do. So when we look at this situation, I agree with DZ's point. Like, shit, we're probably not the people to even talk about this for real. Like, we probably got to get Sierra. We probably got to get Kenna. We probably got to get Rose. We probably got to get our people to even come in and talk about this, because I'm terrified, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? My daughter's double digits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got a baby sister that's 14.
My daughter's double digits.
Ooh, yeah,
bro.
you there.
I'm terrified.
Yeah, trust me.
What if she makes because I'm looking at it like this, and like I know none of us want to think about this, but like let's be real. My daughter makes a dumb decision in college, right?
Oh yeah.
And doesn't have protected sex, right? Like, let's be real. Don't drop off on me. Let's
we
be
here.
real.
We still here.
She makes a dumb decision in college and has unprotected sex.
Yeah, we here, bro.
Right. And now I have no options. You know what I'm saying? I have no options to be like, okay, you had unprotected sex. She comes to me, even if she doesn't say, hey, I want to take care of this. I want to, whatever. She can't come to me with those options now, bro. I got to be like, oh, what data did you put in the app? Because depending on what data you put in the app, we may not be able to go here and do X, Y, Z.
Yeah. No, I fully get
that scares me, bro. That scares me, bro.
I fully get the picture. I fully get the picture.
Yeah, man.
I listen. I get it.
Yeah, like the way I was. Now I'm thinking like
right.
So. Obviously, my daughter is small, bro. We a few years from double digits, but
bro,
that's why I'm talking to like our old heads, and like for real. Bro, what I'm learning is like that's when it fall on like if my daughter did something that honestly I would make it fall back on.
That doesn't mean that I didn't do something right. She's an adult at that point. She's growing into an adult at that point. That's not falling on you,
right?
Because think about the thing.
Yeah, but okay, no, because so if you're an adult and then if you take that situation and you bring it back to me, obviously I don't have any answers. But by you being an adult, even if it was a mistake,
what happens
since
when
you're an adult, you deal with that.
But that's what
you deal with right now. You don't have any
options.
And
that's what we're talking about. So like right now. If you got all that time to grow up and you realize, hey, I don't got no options.
I'll leave it at this because, and this is the hard part where this conversation shifts. But we are putting so much fixation on the ladies to where now you got to say, hey, these little boys have to understand their responsibility even more.
You're right.
And they can't be out here being willy-nilly. like
you can't
they
be reckless.
have.
You're right. You're right.
So I
didn't say that, but you're right.
No, because I mean, I got a younger brother that's finna go to college right now. I've told him straight up, hey, if you can't afford to buy Pampers and stuff by yourself, you don't need to be doing this. I mean, really, I told him, I said, I prefer like you wouldn't, but if you're gonna do it, protect it. I was like, when you were young, you already know how that go. College drinking.
Well, but no, DZ's right. DZ's right because I'm looking at it from, like you said, that standpoint. But we really need to be talking to these little boys,
because the difference with us is we can impregnate multiple people at once versus a woman only getting pregnant at one time. So these boys have to become more responsible because they don't know. You got to, because all you really got to do is, if I want somebody not to be a parent, like for me, it took me a minute before I finally had kids because my siblings are young. When I was 12, 12, I had my first little brother, 13, the other one, and then 16, my sister. So I helped raise them a lot before I went to school. I already knew I ain't want no kids. A lot of these kids, some of them ain't been around no kids, not knowing how much a sacrifice and what they cost and what they actually mean for your life. So, a lot of times, and we didn't mean to turn this into a sex ed chat because we're gonna probably end it with this. But we were talking, me and my girl talking about this earlier.
Sorry, y'all.
We good. We good.
Hunting.
I think we got to talk about this. I mean, sex hunting, whatever you want to call it. But
I also think this is important for our women listeners to know that, like, hey, we care about y'all, and like, y'all don't know it, but like, men don't show it, but we are talking about this stuff. We're trying to understand this stuff, especially as fathers and husbands and brothers, and we are trying to understand this stuff. Like, and you know, if I'm keeping it real, some of us don't know. Like, DZ just had to correct me and be like, "Hey, bro, you talking about the women, but like, what about these little dudes out here?" Like, we are talking about this stuff, and we're trying to figure it out.
And I just want to end it with this: is like, the issue is going to have to be now. And I don't listen. This will be for like different podcasts because we already know how it is. Like most of it, black people, broken homes, the parents working all the time, the kids raising themselves. They don't have nobody to just sit down and talk to them and tell them, I know you want to do this because, somebody told you it feel good, but let me show you what this actually means. Let me show you when you possibly give your body to this little boy, how it's going to change you and how you're going to start viewing the world and this boy differently, and you're gonna probably start making irrational decisions because mentally you weren't ready to do that yet. Like those are the type of conversation you gotta have. You tell that little boy, hey, okay, it's cool now, you ain't did it yet, but once you start, like my mom told me, it's hard, you can't stop. You always trying to, and when you young and you always ready to go, you trying to get the next piece. It's almost like drugs. You trying to get that next high. You ain't gonna stop. So these are the type of things you tell them, and granted, it probably go in one after the other, but you did your due diligence of saying like, hey, I know you did, but like focus on, hey, if you're gonna do this, focus on getting you an internship, a career. So if you do that, at least you could take care of these responsibilities because it's hard.
And for that, let's bring it back. Focus on getting you a career in IT or OT. You can hit your boy Anthony up. You can hit your boy me up. This is Techtual Chatter. We give y'all the real shit. Sometimes we get a little bit derailed, but we're gonna give y'all the real shit. We do this. We're cybersecurity people, and we interview people who are interesting, who are not just one dimensional. We want to give a shout out to Anthony for coming on, talking about OT, also talking about all of this, stuff that we're getting into. For our ladies who are listening, I just want to say that we are trying to figure this out. We may not get it right. We may not understand everything that's going on, but we are trying to figure this out. We are trying to figure out how to be allies. We are trying to figure out how to support. We are trying, and if nothing else, Techtual Chatter protects Black women. We will always elevate Black women. We will always raise Black women. Me and DZ are trying to figure this out. I cannot say we have the answer. Me and him we get on phone calls that y'all never hear about. where we go back and forth, but I won't comment on those, you know. But we're still friends after. But we get on phone calls that where we go back and forth. But we are trying to figure this out, and you know, I like to thank my boy Anthony for coming here talking OT, but also coming here talking some real shit. Because at the end of the day, for us, this is tech and we talk this shit, but at the end of the day, we have to hold each other accountable. We are a community of brothers and sisters who we really check in on each other. Like, this ain't a joke. Y'all didn't get to see what was going on before the podcast, but we talk, we share music. Like, this is a real family. So I'll say that, and then DZ, you jump in. But
now we're gonna let Antoine, you know, we're gonna let him give his spiel, and he'll close us out. Really.
It's my boy DZ.
Well, nah, DZ. Man, I want to say, yo, my man Henry or DZ, man, I definitely appreciate this shot. I mean, my man E. Yeah, dude, like, this coming on a podcast, like, you know, I mean, you took me out of my cave. I've been in my cave for a long time, so it's good to sit down and politics with my peoples. And, you know what I mean? Like,
plug your show real quick. Plug your show. Give us
personally. Like, I'm all about the team, I'm all about us. Yeah. Oh, well, man, well, look, you could just go to YouTube, type in Antoine Matthews, or Cyber Chat, or learn how to hack with Antoine Matthews. Any of the above, it all take you to the same spot. But yeah, man, when it comes to us, like, you know, that's why I keep my door open, and it's like barbershop talk, man. It's too many of us that went the wrong way because we didn't have that exposure. And this shit ain't hard. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's like you playing a sport. To me, this hacking shit is like playing a video game. Like, figure out what you want to do, and we always gonna have that, you know, that handout for you. But you know, with brothers like them, you know what I mean, my man E and D, we're gonna make it happen, bro. Like, and for the women, that conversation caught me off guard. We got into it, you know what I mean? You could tell the passion here, and it's all love. You know what I mean? Like that should let y'all know that we ain't got the answer.
Hey, look, we're trying to figure out ladies, man, we're
trying to figure out something.
We don't know.
Really appreciate.
We're trying to protect. We're trying to be the providers and understand this stuff the way we need to be. And what you just saw was like a real authentic version of like 3 brothers just trying to talk this out. Like, we, you know, and no script. Like, I don't even know how this came up for real. But
I think because you started at the beginning with it, and you kind of just had to get it out. And I mean,
it's been on my heart, bro.
Hey,
like,
and that's good. But combos like this,
we got them baby girls, bro. Hey, listen, man. Baby girl's 10th birthday is on November 22nd, bro. I am terrified, and I'm talking to y'all, my brothers, who I like. But I am terrified, bro. I don't know what to do. She's 10 years old, and then this thing happens.
Yeah,
she's a black woman. She's growing into a black woman. I don't know what to do, bro. I'm terrified. You know what I'm saying? So what y'all just got to witness was 3 brothers checking in who are really like, hey, listen, we don't have this thing figured out. When it comes to tech, we got that. We good.
But life,
when it comes to this life
nobody
shit,
got life figured out.
Hey,
all of us dealing with imposter syndrome with life.
Sometimes in Techtual Chatter, this is what y'all get. Like, this is what we bring. But at the end of the day, we're trying to help the community. We're trying to build brothers up. And sometimes we just have these real talks where it's just like us, and we're just like, yo, bro, like, I need to figure this out. And I love it. I love it, man. Yeah. I love having Antoine on here. Me and DZ, you know, we'll chop it up whenever. Yeah. I think we got to get McKenna and Sierra on here, bro, and like get them to help us out and have this conversation and really try to understand what's going on, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man. I just want to tell everybody, you already know you will not get anything else like this on any other tech podcast except this one. So make sure you still tune in, leave us a review, share this out, clip it up, whatever you want to do, man. I think this is going to spark, like, if you tune into this is going to spark a conversation in all different type of industries to where it's like, you know, we didn't really go in like that, like we should, you know, and I thank E for that. Yeah. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in with us, man. It's been another episode. And, you know, like I always say, man, let's stay textual, and we out.
Hey, let's go.